Man of Super is out and about, so let's discuss. I'm gonna hit you with non-spoilers first, then we'll hop into a few spoilers after. So from the jump, let me temper expectations. This isn't your daddy's Superman. And by that I mean the previous Superman solo movies were just that, solo movies. But this is to Superman what Spider-Man Homecoming is to Spider-Man, in that it is Superman plus the DCU. So expect the focus of this movie to occasionally shift from Big Blue to others. But this movie maintains a good balance of keeping the attention on Superman while holding space for others to strut their stuff. Mostly. The biggest criticism I can lob at this movie's head is that its eyes are sometimes bigger than its stomach. The ambition here is laudable, but its consequences are at times palpable. I said this was Superman plus the DCU, and that sometimes detracts from this story's focus to muddy its waters. Although I will say that despite said muddying, the pacing doesn't ever really falter. The good of this movie begins with Superman and Lex, who are obviously the main attractions. David Cornswet and Nicholas Hoult both play their opposite side of the moral spectrum fantastically. They both portray very comic booky, high-energy, dramatic versions of the characters that differentiates them from the previous iterations, which were deliberately grounded. That is a recurring vibe this movie maintains. Superman embraces its comic book origins very proudly and converts them via dialogue, dynamic camera work, and even world state. One thing I found refreshing about this film is how its people interact with their reality. There's often a push in comic book movies to lampshade how ridiculous the events transpiring are, but I find that to be tedious and overdone.
Okay, look, the city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
In this movie, everything isn't taken completely seriously, but it isn't taken as a jokey wink situation either. A world-ending apocalypse is as normal to these characters as morning traffic, and they respond accordingly. Speaking of responding, this Superman is laser focused on saving people, which is emphasized in almost every scene he's in. I can't knock that, since it's a core aspect of his character that I think this adaptation handles better than Cavill or Roots. Reeves, I don't know, I only saw the first one. But my point is that this Superman is focused on saving everyone, which has rubbed some people, particularly the anti-woke crowd, the wrong way, along with other aspects of this version's characterization. But let me just say, if you're part of the anti-woke crowd, first of all, why are you here? And second, if you're truly triggered by watching a superhero movie, who's the real snowflake? Alright, let's hit up spoilers. Two small things, then a third bigger thing. Number 1. I find it interesting that the opening text states that Superman is the most powerful metahuman, or meta-alien, whatever. Establishing a ceiling that early is a bold move. Let's see if it stays that way, or if power scalers are eventually beating this movie with a stick. It's especially noteworthy that this is the weakest Superman we get, so scaling him at the top puts a hard ceiling on this entire universe. Or at least Earth. Number 2, the Superman we get is fully realized in characterization and power, so I'm curious to see where we go from here. I'm sure there'll be some sort of arc. Maybe? And third, I didn't like Ultraman. Having Lex use a Superman clone as a first resort, especially this Lex, feels a bit contradictory. Also, Superman punting Ultraman into a black hole feels like an easy solution that he tried to avert. As a quick fix, if it must be a clone, make him Bizarro, and have Superman either save and imprison him with aspirations toward rehabilitation, or have him return to the black hole in a post-credit scene for a rescue. Alternatively, just pick someone else. I don't care who. Use Green Goblin if you want, he's not even DC, but who cares?
Oh.
That's all for this one. Like and subscribe, because I've got more rewrites, fixes, essays, and whatnot in the works. And until the next one, cheers.